Heaven, hell, and purgatory. Heaven is eternal life with God. It is after death. And it is usually seen as a reward for following God's rules. For forgiveness, as in you have forgiven other people, you have been forgiven by other people, and God has forgiven you. It is a place where we can be face to face with God. Now, what that actually means, we don't know. However, it is the goal of our life to reach heaven. Every action we do is hopefully going to get us closer to that point where we can go to heaven. Now, when we are looking at what it actually is, there's lots of language that's used about it being up there, being in the presence of God, clouds and harps and angels and all of this. This is just humans trying to understand something that we can't fully understand. Therefore, what we do know is that God is present. The soul goes back to God. And this would then be paradise. How that happens, what happens, we don't know because we're still alive. Now, this will be a happy, joyful, love-filled place. It's the reward for following all the good deeds. For Catholics, saints are definitely in heaven. The title saint comes from the fact that they believe it is proven that person has gone to heaven. It's not saying other people aren't there, it's just saying that that is now proven they are in heaven. Heaven is our reward for doing the right thing. Now, that is a Christian belief. Purgatory is a Catholic only belief. Purgatory is a process rather than a place. Where the sin will be purged from the soul. So it'll be the spiritual fire will burn it away from the soul. And at the end of this process, you get to go to heaven. This is because Catholics accept that everyone is not perfect. People are not perfect. Everyone is probably going to sin a little bit, and you can't go to heaven if you've sinned. Therefore, this is a place for you to get rid of those small sins in order to go to heaven. Therefore, this is a way to make up for errors you couldn't in life. It's about making the soul pure. So when we are purging the soul, it's about making the soul pure enough to go to heaven and be one with God again. In 1 Corinthians 3:13, it says it will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each person's work. And if what has been built survives, the builder will receive a reward. So Catholics believe that that is talking to us about purgatory. However, the main belief about purgatory comes from the Catechism. Therefore, all of this means that Catholics will pray for the dead, to help them get out of purgatory quicker. Hell. There is a gap between heaven and hell that cannot be breached. So while you can get to heaven from purgatory, you cannot get to hell. You cannot get to heaven from hell. You cannot get to from hell to heaven. Hell is the eternal punishment. It is a place where God is not. Those who have not followed God's rules have not been forgiven, received forgiveness, or given forgiveness. Those who have rejected God completely, chosen to live outside of God's presence. This is what we would then call hell. We find this in the unforgiven servant, and the rich man and Lazarus. And go and look at the video on judgment parables if you want to know more about that. It is about our free choice. God does not send us to hell. We send ourselves there by refusing to do what God has told us we need to get to heaven. So God doesn't choose to punish us. We are choosing not to accept God's love. People refuse to accept God's love. Therefore, why is it a punishment? Because our soul, which is a part of God, longs to constantly be back with God, and yet, because of this gap, it can never get there. I hope that helps.